So, Greg, thanks for demonstrating the vehicle-to-coffee system, and it definitely tastes much better
Cheers.
than cheers, absolutely.
100% sustainable coffee from the vehicle, right?
And I know, guys, that at the Mobility House, you did vehicle-to-coffee back in what, like 2014? But it was not so easy as you do here with Rivian, right? So the vehicle that you used back then was what, Nissan Leaf or something like that?
Yeah, that's right. It was, you know, a first of its kind, the type of vehicle to load demonstration, and the industry definitely has moved on quite a bit from there. This is way more user friendly, and it required a lot less effort on our part as the Mobility House.
Yeah, I get it. So let's talk about the full story. How did you decide to actually pre-order and buy a Rivian? So what did you drive before, and why did you choose, you know, that particular model?
Well, it's a long story.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, well, so I originally didn't order this for myself. I ordered this for our founder of the Mobility House, Thomas Raffiner. He has a farm. I've been following Rivian for a long time, really liked the vehicle, but I'm not a car person. So, you know, I liked it for all the features that it had, but I'm driving a Toyota Corolla 2000 and, you know, was happy with it. But I thought it would be a good fit for Thomas because he has a farm in the, you know, Austrian Alps, and having an electric car, and I know he doesn't like driving anything but electric, would have been the perfect fit. Well, we you know, put in the order, and well, I put in the order for him because he lives in Austria and needed an American credit card and address and so on. And you know, when the time came to actually get the vehicle, which was a few weeks ago, yeah, we talked and realized that it would be quite hard to make it all work with, you know, CCS1 versus CCS2, one phase versus three phase. You know, it wasn't clear what the infotainment system would be doing if it were over there. Obviously, there's no service for Rivian yet in Europe, so he decided to, you know, let me have the vehicle. And by that time, I had spent more time with the vehicle, had gone to the first mile drive, and really started liking it. And so I decided to keep it for myself.
Excellent. And I think this is not absolutely obvious, but when it comes to charging standards, they're not harmonized across the world, right? So when you talk like CCS or the famous combo, it's not the same in Europe and the US, right? And also this one phase versus three phase, it's becoming a nightmare. So now we need to think about like importing and exporting electric vehicles across the ocean. So it's becoming a big deal. But I'm glad you're now a happy owner of one of the early Rivians, and we checked the number. It was like
1877.
So
yeah.
One of the really like early ones. And when did you order it?
I ordered it in 2019, so it's been, you know, 3 years waiting for it. You know, there were times where I wasn't sure is this ever going to be built or delivered, but yeah, I was actually surprised to get the call earlier this year. Hey, your vehicle is being built and get ready for it to be shipped. And then yeah, I picked it up just down the road from here in South San Francisco.
How much did you pay back then? What was the deposit for this vehicle?
The deposit was $1,000.
Uh-huh.
And then the MSRP for the launch edition back then was 73.
Yeah, and that sounds like a good deal, especially these days. And you know, when we are through this deficit of components and prices are going up, I saw like people were selling like fresh Rivians at like $100,000+ on you know, Craigslist and things like that. So I think you're lucky. You just like you can potentially resell it if you want, and I think there will be quite a demand for this vehicle, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think you know, my plan is definitely to keep it for a while, at the very least for the summer, to do some road trips and you know, use the full capability of the vehicle. And but yeah, I think just like with any other vehicle, there's massive demand, way more demand than there's supply. 3,000 vehicles been built so far, maybe a little bit more, but I think Rivian wants to build 25,000 this year. Yeah, the wait list is probably around 100,000 or so.
Yeah, for sure. Well, can you tell us a little bit more about this specific model? I guess it's not available as is on the website today. It was like the launch edition or something like that?
Exactly. It was the launch edition, so it's pretty packed with all the nice features. It has the large battery pack, so you get about just under 300 miles on that. And then you get some nice little accents on the interior and exterior, yeah, I think now the same spec. If you would go on the website and configure it, it would be just under 100.
Did you order any fancy, what I call bells and whistles? Like they have a tent, they have a kitchen. I don't see anything like that here, but what was your...
Yeah, I did order the camp kitchen
okay.
and the tent.
Okay.
It's a pretty nice tent that will go just over here. There will be some crossbars that hook in to those hooks here. But both of those pieces are not available yet. I think there are some supply chain issues, and so I'll surely be one of the first ones to be notified when it becomes available. And but until then, I'll have to sleep here or pitch my own.
In a sleeping bag, sort of.
Yeah, I've taken my dog up on some off-roading adventures, and once you get to a nice spot, you put down the flatbed and lie down or put a little soft mattress down here and enjoy the view of the ocean.
Nice. Did you actually order the tent and the kitchen back in 2019 or recently?
I ordered the kitchen with it back in 2019, and then I added the tent, I don't know, like half a year ago or so, but was still able to lock in the old price.
Yeah.
I think it's 2,500.
Yeah.
The old price. Now it's 37 or so.
Yeah, the prices have gone up on everything, so literally. So I think the kitchen was around 5K. Now I think it's 6.7. But anyway, so the trend is obvious. So it's been a few weeks since you kind of got this car, right? So what's your first impression? What you like, what you dislike, what would you have improved, or are you happy with this purchase, or like, do you want to keep it, sell it, upgrade? Tell us more.
Well, I mentioned before I've been driving a Toyota Corolla, and I've been driving that thing for the past 7 or 8 years. Since I'm not a big car person, I just want to get from A to B. I was totally happy with it, minus it not being electric. Mm-hmm. Obviously working for an EV charging company and being a big advocate of creating a zero emission energy and transportation future, that was one feature that bugged me. So having an electric vehicle is amazing, but then also if you go from a Toyota Corolla 2000 to this, everything is amazing. Yeah. For me, most importantly, the driving experience is incredible. It has enormous comfort. I like pretty much all the little extra features. I haven't even shown you yet. It has this camp speaker. Mm-hmm. That's integrated in the mid console, and
you can take it out.
You can take it out, exactly, and hook it up to Bluetooth. I use that all the time. I had some friends over. I had Jan over the other day, and we barbecued, and I just took that out from the vehicle. It's very neat. you know, the off-road capability of the vehicle is amazing. You know, I drove on a friend's farm and off-road on some really poor dirt roads, you know, 50 miles an hour. It feels smooth, like if it were nothing, going through puddles and holes. And the suspension is incredible. When we start driving, I'll switch it to conserve mode, and you'll see. So we got 101 miles of range. Now I'll hit it conserve mode. You feel the car is lowering. It's moving, you know, the ride height is moving down, and we are now at 110 miles.
Well, like any new car maker, and I think Rivian is not excluded, like when you launch the first product, and we saw that happening with Tesla a lot, you have a lot of teething issues. Like what I mean is just quality of materials, quality of paint, quality of locks and door handles, like everything needs to be carefully reviewed or sometimes serviced, replaced. Did you have any issues like that?
So far, hardly anything. You know, I think, you know, earlier we tried to lower the bed here, and it didn't open on the first try. The same thing with the tunnel. Sometimes it doesn't open on the first try. But those are the only real complaints that I have. Mm-hmm. I've been very impressed with the build quality of the vehicle, considering it's, you know, vehicle number 1877. Okay. The build quality is solid. There really is not a lot of things that I don't like about this car, but one thing that is super annoying is this is supposed to be a wireless charger, or is a wireless charger, but as you can see, like, it has to be perfectly arranged to charge. Like right now it's not charging, now it's charging, so it doesn't work very well. And this is supposed to be a non-slip surface. You take the smallest turn and this, you know, starts sliding all over the place.
Got it. Did you need to call like their service team at least once or twice?
Yeah, I had the service team come out once. I had some what I thought were some noises at low speed, some rattling, but apparently it is the air suspension is just extremely noisy when you're, you know, going slow. It does so much adjusting that you can hear that. And so at low speeds, that's something that I just wanted to make sure that, you know, there's nothing loose. And then I had a small issue with the accelerator pedal. It felt some vibration there, but apparently that is also.
Well, so there is one feature which is like everywhere in the YouTube reviews. It's the famous tunnel, right? Yeah. Is it really useful? Do you use it?
I've used it, yeah. So I mean, number one is you know, to step up to, you know, get anything off your or onto the roof. It's useful. You know, I've stored stuff in there because it's nicely contained. So if you don't want, you know, you don't want to put, you know, a small little piece of something in the back, it'll slide all over the place, right? Right. And so that's a good place to store stuff. And then, you know, I think it's a super versatile space. You know, a camp kitchen can go in there. I think they're thinking about other accessories. And then I've seen a Rivian service truck that, you know, had all their tools in there. So when you're thinking about other applications, this truck in a workplace setting, that's one option to use this tunnel in a useful way.
I think a week ago or so, Rivian announced the recall campaign. Are you impacted?
I haven't been notified, so I assume that I'm not impacted.
Yeah, they said it's roughly 500 vehicles, so probably you're not just in the scope. But how was your servicing experience, like the whole process of filing a complaint or calling them up? It's just like from the customer perspective, was it smooth?
Incredible. I mean, big reason why I really like the brand and the company Rivian is the incredible talent they've been able to attract, and you see that through the bench. Every service technician that I've talked to, everyone who answers a service call, is extremely skilled, extremely friendly, follows through on calling you back if there are any issues. It's been great. And as I said, the one time that I had some issue, someone showed up here, within a couple of days. So, yeah, they've done a great job building out their service infrastructure and service team to be able to deal with what inevitably happens when you build a new car.
How do you charge this vehicle?
So I personally charge it mostly L2 overnight at a close by school, or here at the mobility house. On the road, I've taken it to Electrify America stations. I've seen some pretty good charging speeds. Actually, the last couple of updates have bumped up the charging speed, getting close to 200 kilowatt top speeds.
And how about the entire ecosystem? I drive a Tesla, so which practically means it's more or less like a closed system. And what I mean is basically your options to plan your routes, based on your state of charge. When you approach a charging station, your battery, like high voltage battery, will precondition, so cool down a little bit. So when you plug in the charger, the whole thing starts working faster and more efficiently, and keep your actually improve your battery longevity. So looking into all the interfaces here, they're pretty much like Tesla. I mean, you have quite a good feeling. So it's not an old school, let's say, traditional car maker. It's definitely the feeling of a, let's say, California-based company. But do you think it's enough? They've gone far enough to improve this kind of ecosystem and give you the best customer experience, or there is something else that could have been done?
I so far am very happy with the ecosystem. I like the approach of interoperability and the idea that this vehicle should be able to charge on all the charging networks that are out there. The UI helps with route planning and does a fairly good job finding the right charging stations. I think there could be some improvements there. Sometimes it feels like it doesn't take the most effective route. But in general, I haven't had any issues, but it's only been a few weeks, and yeah, we shall see soon if this will continue being so smooth and seamless.
Right, and let's talk a little bit about your core stuff at the Mobility House. So what you do a lot is behind the meter energy management. So did you try to play with this vehicle a little bit to change the power rates and to optimize the charging?
Yeah, we at the Mobility House, we have the goal of creating a zero-emission energy and transportation future, and part of that is charging electric vehicles in the most cost-efficient way and doing it at the lowest emissions. And so we have this platform called Charge Pilot that helps us to charge and optimize charging of electric fleets. So if there are multiple vehicles charging, we throttle and ramp up the charging based on a variety of parameters, the electricity rate, any constraints of the building, for instance. So that's all the optimization that happens behind the meter, and then there's obviously, in front of the meter optimizations that can happen as well, depending on what geography we're in and what utility we're working with. Yeah, here we've used the Rivian for testing. We've done a bunch of interoperability testing. We have ABB, BTC, and Heliox chargers here that we've tested this with, and we've used our Charge Pilot system to control the charge of the Rivian, ramp down, ramp up, bring it down to 0 amps and then ramp it back up. And one of the nice features of the vehicle is that it doesn't go to sleep, which is not true for all electric vehicles. So this really helps with load management and performing efficient load management. And then we have fun options for using the vehicle for vehicle to load and demonstrating where we see the future, which is a future where the electric vehicle doesn't just provide mobility, it doesn't just provide fun, like we're having here today, but it also provides a resource for the electricity grid.
Yeah, I get it. Well, when you were buying this vehicle, pre-ordering this vehicle back in 2019, you didn't have really many options in the heavy, let's say, vehicle segment. So right now that you have those, you have F-150, you have even the Hummer, and Silverado. So looking at those, they're a little bit bigger, right? So they're a little bit in a different class. But would you have still considered Rivian versus other options? Obviously you've gone through all the reviews on the web, but what's your impression? So where is the market going?
Yeah, it's super exciting. I think we need these types of vehicles, and one of the big reasons why I'm keeping this right now is because I want to use it to get people excited about electric vehicles and show people that electric vehicles doesn't mean you have to drive a Chevy Bolt or a Nissan Leaf, but you can drive a true American truck. Yeah. And it's been working like a charm. People come up all the time, tell you, hey, what is this? And I start talking to them. It's like, I never want to have an electric vehicle, but I could do this. Yeah. And it's like, well, it's electric. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's cool, that's fine. I like this. All right. Yeah. So I think this is the way we can win over a big part of the country that really loves trucks or uses trucks for work purpose and so on. And